Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is add a bit more functionality to this little microspace heater. So we have the control, and what we're going to do is automate it now. So I got one of these cheaper temperature controllers. So there's that, and it comes with a thermocouple there. So I'm going to go ahead and wire this in. And to do that, since it has the function of both heating and cooling, normally you would hook up AC or something to the cooling side. I'm going to use an extraction fan actually for that. And on the heating side, obviously, is heater. And I'm going to wire in the socket so that I can just plug the heater into the heating side, and then the bottom will be cooling for the fan. And that way, when it gets outside of the temperature range, if it goes too low, it'll kick in the heater. If it gets too hot, it'll turn off the heater and turn on the fan. Alright, so there it is all wired in. So first and foremost, you have to break the join here on the hot side of the outlet so that they're not common to each other, and you can control the heat and the cooling independently. You keep it on the neutral side. And so here we have 8 terminals. You loosen this screw here and insert the wire through there, and then tighten it back up. And so let's see, here is our wire going to the plug. And out of here, the black is the hot line. You can see that splits into 3 and goes into 7, 5, and 1. So this is the power for the actual unit, and then the power for the cooling, power for the heating. Then that cooling line then comes out of 8 into this lower socket, and out of the heating unit 6 into this left socket. 3 and 4 are the thermocouple, the probe. And let's see, what do we have left? The only thing left is number 2, which is the neutral line coming from 2 into here, and then from here back into our plug. And of course the ground goes onto the side here. Now when this is plugged in, if you have it just like this, there's a potential to get a bit of a shock. So just be careful how you handle it. Be better to mount this all inside of another box to contain it. Alright, so let's give it a test. I got my kilowatt reader to see how much the actual temperature controller draws. Okay, so it's working. And it seems to be running at 1.6 watt. So that's great. So, I got my instructions here that tell me what the different codes are in the settings. You can see TS is temperature set value, that's the set point. DS is different set value, so that's going to go up and down from the set point, however many degrees you enter into the DS value. And then turn on the heater or the cooler, respectively. PT is some compressor delay, so in time. So I guess if you have a compressor, it'll delay before it kicks it in, so it's not constantly cycling it on and off, I guess. And then CA is a calibration value, so if the thermocouple is off, we can calibrate it with that. and the CF switches between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So let's go ahead and check that out. So we hold down the S to get into the menu. So TS is the temperature set value, so we press S again to go into that. And it's set at 10 Celsius, so let's switch it to Fahrenheit real quick. CF, F, and then S. And this one is kind of annoying, you have to hit S and then exit out the menu with the on-off button for it to save. Okay, so the set point currently is 50. So let's go ahead and bump this up. I'm going to run it at 74 with a differential of 2 degrees. So in other words, when it hits 72, it'll stop heating, it'll turn off the heater. And then when it hits 76, if it does, it'll turn on the exhaust fan as my cooling unit. Okay, so let's go back to that. Okay, so that's the set. Oh, see, it didn't save any of that because we didn't hit the on-off button. That is annoying. Okay, so DS is the differential value. I want that at 2 degrees Fahrenheit. PT is the compressor delay. We'll have that at 0. And the calibration value, we'll keep it 0 for now. Okay, so there, it saved it. So now we set it at 74. So at 67, it should heat, right? So let's go ahead and plug in the heater into our top outlet here. And again, I have that with the controller here, dimmer switch. And so if it's working, since it's supposed to be heating right now, when we plug this in, it should increase this wattage value, right? And there it goes. And we should be able to use the dimmer switch to tune that. So we can run it at a maximum or drop it down for the cooler times of the year. Or rather, the warmer times of the year. So maybe 30 watts. Okay. So then let's take, let's see. It's going to take a while for that to heat up. I'm going to take the thermocouple here. So I'm going to just put it close to simulate the heating. Okay, so you see it's switched off the heat. We're kind of in that 4-degree window right now. And there goes the cooling. So it's turned off the heater, as you can see by the kilowatt reader. So I'm going to run this little fan right here. It's actually a USB one. Let's see, what is it? 5 volt DC, 3.5 watt. And it actually works really well. It has 2 settings and it's just as good as any of the 15 watt ones. Okay, so since we're again on cool, when I plug this into my lower outlet, which is my refrigeration, quote unquote, we should see this go up by a little bit. And the fan turn on. So, let's see. If I use that fan to cool off my thermocouple here. Well, that's pretty responsive actually for such a little dinky plastic covered one. So you see we're still running that 3.5 watt fan until we get to 74, I think, right? The fan turns off. Not sure why this dropped to 0.7. That's kind of weird. I guess that's what maybe it's idle state when it doesn't have the cool or heat light on. Okay, so there I just warmed it up in my hand and it kicked the fan back on. So you see it does work fairly well. Alright, so there you go, guys. Nice bit of automation there to help control the temperature. You can do the same exact thing with humidity. They have control. There's a control both. Ones that have an outlet already wired in, you can buy one of those. Other uses you might consider one of these for, I think it would be really useful, especially in the same exact micro tent setup as I have, is to make one of those into a drying dedicated tent. Okay, so you can see the heat just turned on when we got to 72. And we kicked in our heater. Again, we can heat up our thermocouple here. And reverse the direction. So you can make a drying tent and have this control your humidity and your temperature automatically. Use one of these micro heaters and a fan or whatever. That'd be a really good way if you have a fairly large amount to dry and you wanted to get the drying and curing really precise. Another way you could possibly use it is if you're into home brewing. You could control the temperature of a fermentation vessel or a a racking area, something like that. So lots of different little uses for a little easy DIY build. So let me guys know what you guys use for your temperature at night. How low do you go, or do you heat at night? And let me know what you think about this little temperature controller for automation of this micro space heater. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.